And if we're conscious and we befriend our fear, meaning we get curious about where that comes from and what's the ultimate fear underneath that, we actually have a fighting chance at communicating that to those people that we love, that we don't want them to let us down.
When that happens, not by building up walls, not by avoidance, not by numbing, not by all of the things that are easy in the short term, but by really learning the tools how to cope really effectively. Hey everybody, it's Bianca.
And it's Emilia.
Welcome to another episode of Evolve Ventures, where we're helping growth-minded humans evolve by breaking one limiting belief at a time. We hope you enjoyed the last episode, number 255, Motivation Monday, How to Handle Your Inner Critic. For today, number 256, What to Do When Others Let You Down. It is an inevitable truth. It is an uncomfortable truth, but it is an inevitable part of life that people are going to let us down. Mm-hmm. Whether it's once or whether it's 1,000 times, we're all going to go through the experience of people not being who they say they are, people not doing what they say they're going to, other people hurting us, other people, maybe intentionally, maybe unintentionally, but of people letting us down. How do we handle that? How do we get through that? And how can we keep ourselves in a good space when the inevitable happens? So that is what we're going to be diving into today. To get us started, what I do really want to say, and I know I already said this, but I really want to emphasize this point. It is going to happen. I think a lot of us get hurt so badly because we have this belief that no one's going to do that. The people in my life, no, they're not going to let me down. They're going to follow through. They're going to, they really said that this time they're going to do it. Or my partner, they said that they're going to keep trying and they really are. They're trying. Or whatever the case may be. People are going to not be able to do everything that they say. They're not going to be able to do everything that maybe they really want to. Mm-hmm. And it's so hard when that happens. And it's hard to not blame ourselves of like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened to me again. What's wrong with me? Why do people keep doing this to me? Why, what's wrong with me that they're doing that to me? Mm-hmm. Or the belief that, the belief that like they're never going to do it. So it's like an added shock when it finally does happen. And right. I'm sure you've seen that with clients and within your own life.
Definitely. And as a matter of fact, this episode rings so true to what I've learned through working with clients on this topic, which is a huge core value of mine, which is taking responsibility. It's a core value in action, really. And I didn't realize how vital that has been for my life, and how when it comes to this conversation around how much we feel so let down by others around us and others we care about and others we trust, how difficult it is to look at it from the lens of the responsibility of who's to blame, not really like blame, but who's to blame in this moment from a point that doesn't shame and doesn't guilt. Because at the end of the day, when people let you down, and I'm glad you opened with the fact that it's inevitable, it takes two to tango. And that's the thing that I really do try to help other people talk and actually listen about, because oftentimes the spotlight is only directed one way. But here is what I think that a lot of us struggle with, is working through the emotions and the aftermath around when someone does let us down. What are we doing about that? How are we feeling about that? And what are the lessons that we're taking away to navigate this? Are we walling up? I'm thinking about the person or the clients that I've had who, when someone has let them down, they start to build and mortar bricks in the biggest wall that they could ever build to make sure that they're pushing other people away instead of trusting them and leaning into relationship, because of the fact is that there are going to be moments like this and there are going to be times. And I also think of the people that never learn the lessons around this aspect, and instead they take all of the bricks away from all the walls and all the understandings around human behavior and human nature. You know, none of us are perfect. All of us, I think, well, the majority of us, I think, have pure intentions and don't want to let people down, especially not. This is what I have learned from clients. People who care about people do not want to let others down, so much so that they might actually over agree to something at the expense of knowing that they're going to let them down in the future. You know, I talked about this on episode 254 about how I navigated my actions in a way that was letting my family down. And I overpromised and underdelivered because I'm so fearful of letting them down, you know? And I think that what I've observed, a lot of us feel this way. We don't want to let other people down. And ironically, when other people do, we struggle hard with it. And sometimes we might feel super alone in that.
I mean, it's hard not taking it personally and feeling like they couldn't follow through because of me. I must have not been good enough. What was wrong with me that they couldn't do what they said they were going to? Like, I know in my previous relationships, when they first happened, you know, when they first ended, that was my first thought. I did everything for this person. Why couldn't they love me? I did everything for this person. I went above and beyond. Why couldn't they, you know, be there for me? What's wrong with me that they couldn't, whatever.
Evolve Ventures has a tremendous amount to offer. Not only do they have an ever-growing but still welcoming private Facebook society full of like-minded individuals, they also offer individual coaching. I myself have been coached by both Bianca and Emilia on separate occasions, and it's amazing to look back even a year ago in my life and see how far I've come. You almost don't notice that you're doing better for yourself over time. Not to mention, Out of the Mud, free live virtual event once a month. Can't think of a better way to spend a Wednesday night. You truly can encapsulate the value that it carries unless you've been there yourself and been part of the conversations and the connections that happen, and just access to that kind of information. The resources are just incredible.
It takes really giving yourself some time and compassion and honestly the ability to, what you said, to emotionally regulate and to cope and to really be able to process these things, that you're able to see the truth, which is that sometimes people, because of their own challenges, because of their own limitations, they can't give you what you need. Not because of you, not because there's anything wrong with you, not because you're bad, but because they aren't in a place in their life where they can yet, or maybe ever, do that for you. Like, there's people in my life that I know they're never going to be able to be what I need. Not because I'm not good enough, but because they have their own battles that they're dealing with. And now this doesn't make it okay. And I really want to emphasize that. It doesn't mean, well, oh, it's okay, anyone can do whatever they want because they're struggling. Right. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is people are going to struggle. People are going to let us down. What matters is, how do we deal with that when it happens? And so, number one, learning how to self-regulate, learning how to be there for yourself, how to protect your heart when that happens, not by building up walls, not by avoidance, not by numbing, not by all of the things that are easy in the short term, but by really learning the tools how to cope really effectively. Number two, honestly, I think it's holding the duality. I said this to a client the other day. So one of my clients was telling me that she recently started letting her father, she's older, she's in her 40s. She recently started letting her father watch her kids. But for the longest time, she would not let him be alone with her kids because when she was growing up, her father struggled with alcohol abuse and would drive drunk in the car with her and her siblings in the car. And it was terrifying for her. So for the longest time, she wouldn't allow her dad to be alone with her kids. And he's proved himself over time. And now she's starting to let him. And she's like, I'm terrified that he's going to slip.
Yeah.
And I said, the uncomfortable truth is that there's a chance he will. So let's hold the duality here. And this is what I'm going to suggest to all of you. Hold the duality of the fact that we want to see the best in people. Be optimistic. Try to see the best in people. Try to see the good. That is a beautiful thing. And hold the duality that people make mistakes. People are flawed. And people are going to let you down from time to time. When you can hold both of those truths at the same time, the letdown won't be as catastrophic when it inevitably happens. And if it doesn't happen, you can be pleasantly surprised. But I think we get so hurt because of what I said earlier, which is we think it'll never happen. And again, this isn't to be cynical. This isn't to be like, oh, everyone's going to make mistakes. But it's giving yourself the permission to be optimistic and a little bit more realistic so that you're not being crushed when people are flawed by nature and error.
So true. The last thing that I want to share here is all of those are so vital and so important. And for those of you who might kind of feel like, well, what's underneath that? Because that's one of the questions that I get asked a lot, actually, in a one-to-one setting is what's underneath that is that a fear, and ultimately we don't befriend our fear, meaning because we're so fearful of our fear itself, we like push it away. We don't actually get curious about it. We don't understand where it comes from, and what's underneath it is always usually, like I said, good intent. So your client, for example, there's a fear that her children would ever be put at risk, and that's the fear there. And if we're conscious and we befriend our fear, meaning we get curious about where that comes from and what's the ultimate fear underneath that, we actually have a fighting chance at communicating that to those people that we love, that we don't want them to let us down.
Well said.
Now, here's the thing. If we're not communicating those fears to the people around us, of course, everyone's imperfect. We're flawed. We have our things. But if we can get clear on what that fear is, we actually have a fighting chance to be able to communicate what those expectations are so that that fear does not become realized. And that's where some of the boundaries might come in. That's where all different types of conversations that we have talked about on this podcast episode that will continue to help illuminate in this platform. What are you thinking and feeling? Where's the fear coming from? And how is that contributing to this overall topic of people letting you down and how you navigate that when it does happen? So my episode suggestion for this is 194. This story is hurting you, which connects to the inner dialogue and expectations a little bit deeper. B, what's your episode suggestion?
Mine is number 200. What does rejection mean about you? If you are somebody who does get really, really thrown for a loop because of other people, because of the relationships that you have, all types of relationships, or because of your life or just general life, we know how hard it can be overcoming these things on your own. We know how challenging it can be trying to change these inner dialogues, trying to really navigate through these struggles, especially when life is crazy and hectic and busy. It's like, I have no time for this. I have no energy for this. I don't have time to go sit on a call with somebody for an hour and really process all of these things. This is where the brand new program that we just launched will help you and will come into play. The Evolve You Do You program is a brand new program that we just launched for people like you who want growth, but on your terms. If you want more information about this really incredible program that's really affordable, that gives you the opportunity to have growth at your fingertips, all online, all virtual, you don't even have to leave your apartment or your house or wherever you are, reach out to Emilia and I, or go to evolveventurestech.com/therapy. All of the information is there and you can literally sign up right on the page. If not, get down in the DMs, message Emilia and I, and we hope to hear from you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.